the zombie virus had ravaged the globe, turning most of humanity into mindless zombies. Among them was a zombie named R, who spent his days wandering an abandoned airport with other zombies like him. But R was different, and unlike the others, he wasn't completely brain-dead. He collected human objects and artifacts of the old world, and deep down, R longed for connection, though he could only communicate in grunts and groans. His closest companion was a fellow zombie named M. They didn't talk, but there was a silent bond between them. However, in this post-apocalyptic world, there was a more terrifying kind of monster than zombies, creatures known as bonies. These were zombies who had decayed past the point of recognition, reduced to skeletal monsters that attacked anything living. While the zombies roamed the outside world, a group of surviving humans had taken shelter inside a fortified city surrounded by towering walls. The city was governed by Colonel Grigio, a hard-edged military leader. His daughter Julie was courageous and full of life, and Julie's boyfriend Perry was a soldier who held a deep hatred for zombies. One day, Julie, Perry, Nora, and a few others ventured beyond the walls to find medical supplies. That's when they crossed paths with R and a pack of zombies. A violent clash erupted, and during the chaos, R killed Perry and ate his brain. But something strange happened. When R consumed Perry's brain, he inherited Perry's memories and emotions, especially Perry's love for Julie. Moved by the flood of memories and emotions, R took the remaining pieces of Perry's brain with him and cautiously approached Julie. Frightened, she threw a knife and stabbed him, but the injury meant nothing to him, and R didn't fight back. Julie collapsed in terror, but R gently whispered her name, leaving her in shock. Realizing more zombies were coming, R smeared blood and gore on her to disguise her human scent, then calmly guided her through the undead horde. He brought Julie to his airplane hideout. Julie sat trembling in fear, while R awkwardly tried to fix his messy hair, attempting to appear less threatening, but his inability to speak clearly only heightened Julie's fear. Seeing her fear, R stepped out to give her space. To understand Julie better, he ate more of Perry's brain and absorbed additional memories. When he returned, he tried to communicate again, not with words but with actions. He picked up a record and played a song he loved. Julie watched in amazement, unsure what to make of this strange zombie. The next day, Julie said she was hungry and asked R for food. R left without hesitation, not realizing she was trying to escape. However, she didn't get far before encountering a horde of zombies. She hid under a plane tire, but the zombies had a powerful sense of smell and quickly began to close in. R appeared just in time and scolded her gently for trying to run. He smeared more blood on her face to hide her scent, but warned that it wouldn't fool their eyes. He showed her how to walk and move like one of them, guiding her along the way. Later, R brought her food he had gathered and even offered her a bottle of his favorite beer. This gesture broke the ice between them, and Julie slowly began to trust him. They started talking casually, and though R could barely speak, they found ways to communicate. Still, when Julie said she wanted to go home, R refused. The world outside was too deadly, and he promised to take her back when it was safe. In the days that followed, their relationship deepened. They spent time racing down runways, listening to old records and playing silly games. Their time together looked more like a romance than captivity, and Julie began to forget she was with a zombie. Since zombies didn't sleep, R spent every night keeping watch while she rested and found peace in these quiet moments. Until one night, R realized Julie was missing. He ran outside and found her surrounded by zombies. One of the zombies who grabbed her was M, R's best friend. Without hesitation, R attacked him to save Julie. M was shocked as he couldn't understand why R would protect a human. Before R could explain, a bony appeared nearby. R grabbed Julie and ran, but the bonies didn't give up easily. They escaped one, only to be cornered by three more. Just then, M showed up with a baggage vehicle and rammed into the bonies, but their troubles weren't over as a large group of zombies blocked their path. However, when they saw R holding Julie's hand, something shifted inside them. Instead of stopping them, they stepped aside and allowed R and Julie to escape. Rain poured relentlessly from the sky as R and Julie traveled in silence. Eventually, they reached a quiet, abandoned town and found shelter in a small house. Inside, they discovered an old camera, and like two young lovers, they took photos of each other, laughing and cherishing the fleeting moment of peace. As night fell, they prepared to rest. Summoning the courage, R confessed that he was the one who had killed and eaten Perry, Julie's boyfriend. Julie didn't seem surprised. Somehow, she had already sensed traces of Perry in R. When R apologized, she said nothing, but her silence wasn't rejection, it was understanding. That night, R experienced something impossible for zombies. He dreamed. In his dream, R found himself in a beautiful garden where Julie, Perry, and Nora were talking happily. He approached Julie and asked if she could be his girlfriend, but before she could respond, R jolted awake. He sat upright and quickly noticed that Julie was gone, but strangely, instead of feeling abandoned, R felt a calm acceptance. After all, humans and zombies were never meant to be together. Julie had returned to her home in the human quarantine zone and R prepared to return to the lonely life he had known. Yet something felt different. Standing alone in the rain, R could feel the cold on his skin. Suddenly, M appeared with a group of zombies. After R and Julie left, M had stumbled upon a poster showing two people holding hands. That simple image reminded him of R and Julie, and it sparked memories of his own past life. Other zombies, inspired by M, began to recover their own memories too, and their dead hearts began to beat again. Bonies noticed this strange shift. To them, these changing zombies were traitors. They were banished from the group, and the Bonies blamed R and Julie for ruining the natural order of the undead world, and now the Bonies were hunting them down. Determined to protect Julie, R decided to go to the human city, but he knew he couldn't do it alone and asked M for help. They gathered a group of awakened zombies and set out for the human city. When they reached the outskirts, R instructed M and the others to wait outside while he ventured in alone. Using Perry's memories as a guide, R navigated a secret passage that led into the city. Disguised with a hat and moving carefully, he managed to slip past the guards. All the while, he could feel his body continuing to change. Eventually, he arrived at Julie's house. He didn't know how long he stood outside until she finally appeared on the balcony. The moment their eyes met, Julie was stunned, and without hesitation, she opened the door and embraced him. This time, she felt the warmth of his skin, proof that he was becoming human again. Julie decided to speak to her father and try to convince him of the truth, but it was already too late. The Bonies were approaching the quarantine zone in full force. Julie pleaded with her father to listen, but Grigio was unyielding. Then R stepped forward, and though he had tried to mask his appearance with makeup, Grigio instantly recognized him as a zombie and raised his weapon. At the last second, Nora intervened and pointed a gun at Grigio, forcing him to hesitate just long enough for R and Julie to flee. Outside, a large group of awakened zombies had gathered, but just then, the Bonies arrived. Crashing through windows and ceilings, they launched a violent assault. The human army arrived, stunned by what they saw. Eventually, they chose to side with the zombies against the Bonies. As R and Julie searched for an escape, they found themselves cornered. They burst through a door only to discover it led to a dead end. As the Bonies closed in, R grabbed Julie and leapt into a swimming pool below. The water wasn't deep, and R struck the bottom hard, absorbing the worst of the fall to protect Julie. She surfaced unharmed, but R didn't rise. Julie dove back underwater and dragged him up. He finally regained consciousness, and in that moment they shared a passionate kiss. As their lips touched, R's eyes turned fully human again. Suddenly, a bullet struck R, fired by Colonel Grigio himself. Julie tried to explain, but then blood began to pour from R's wound. Grigio froze since the zombies didn't bleed. Realizing what this meant, he lowered his weapon. The rest of the soldiers followed, accepting R as one of their own. In the end, humans and awakened zombies fought side by side, eradicating the Bonies once and for all. Unlike R and the others, the Bonies were beyond saving. They could never be human again. R had completed his transformation, and he was fully human now. Standing beside Julie, they gazed at the sunset, and behind them, the massive quarantine wall that had divided the world for so long was finally brought down, a symbol that the age of zombies had truly come to an end.